On the morning of September 14, 2007, a 14-year-old boy left his home in Doncaster, England. His name was Andrew Gosden. It was a weekday morning. Andrew's parents believed he was getting ready for school. Instead, Andrew walked out of the house alone. He did not leave a note. He did not take a coat. And he did not tell anyone where he was going. Andrew walked to the train station. He used cash to buy a one-way ticket to London. He was captured on CCTV as he exited the station. After that, Andrew Gosden vanished. What makes this disappearance so difficult to understand is not simply that Andrew was never found. It is that his actions appeared deliberate. He chose a specific day, he chose a specific destination, and he made decisions that suggested planning. Yet there was no clear reason for him to leave. Andrew was not known to be unhappy. There were no reports of conflict at home, no evidence of bullying, no signs that he intended to run away. To this day, no confirmed sightings of Andrew have been reported after he was seen in London. No bank activity, no phone usage, no trace. More than 15 years later, the question remains the same. Why did Andrew Gosden go to London that morning? And what happened after he arrived? This is Evidence in Silence. In this episode, we examine the disappearance of Andrew Gosden, a case defined not by chaos, but by quiet, deliberate choices. Andrew disappeared on September 14, 2007. He was 14 years old. That morning, Andrew's parents believed he had left for school. Instead, Andrew walked to Doncaster railway station. He arrived shortly after 9:30. Using cash, he purchased a one-way ticket to London King's Cross. When the ticket clerk offered him a return ticket, Andrew declined. This small detail has become one of the most closely examined decisions in the case. Andrew boarded the train alone. He was seen on CCTV as he arrived in London later that morning. He exited King's Cross station and walked out of view. That footage marks the last confirmed sighting of Andrew Gosden. What followed was not an immediate realization that something was wrong. Andrew's parents did not know he was missing until later that day, when the school contacted them to report his absence. At first, they believed there had been a misunderstanding, but as the hours passed, it became clear that Andrew had not returned home. A missing person report was filed. The search for Andrew began. What made the investigation especially difficult was the lack of obvious warning signs. Andrew did not take extra clothing. He did not pack belongings. He did not withdraw large sums of money. There were no messages left behind explaining his decision. From the beginning, the case raised more questions than answers. Why did Andrew choose that particular day? Why London? And why did he refuse a return ticket? These questions would shape the investigation for years to come. Andrew Thomas Gosden was 14 years old in September of 2007. He lived with his parents and older sister in Doncaster, South Yorkshire. Those who knew Andrew described him as quiet and intelligent. He was academically gifted. Andrew excelled in mathematics and science. He had recently participated in a gifted and talented program at a local university. Despite this, Andrew was not considered arrogant or withdrawn. He was described as polite, thoughtful, and reserved. Andrew preferred routines. He attended school regularly. He walked the same route each day. He returned home at predictable times. There was nothing in his behavior that suggested instability or distress. Andrew did not have a history of running away. He did not have disciplinary issues at school, and he did not express dissatisfaction with his home life. His parents later stated that Andrew had appeared normal and calm in the days leading up to his disappearance. There were no arguments, no noticeable changes in mood, no warnings. Andrew was known to enjoy music and video games. He liked heavy metal bands. He was described as independent in his interests, but not secretive. He did not own a mobile phone at the time. He did not have an active online presence. This detail would later complicate the investigation. There were no text messages to review, no social media accounts to examine, no digital trail that explained his decision to leave. What remains striking is how ordinary Andrew's life appeared to be. There was no obvious pressure, no external conflict, no indication that he was trying to escape something. This absence of explanation would become one of the most unsettling aspects of the case. Investigators, family members, and the public would continue to ask the same question. Why would a boy with no apparent reason to leave walk away so deliberately and never come back? On the morning of September 14, 2007, Andrew Gosden woke up as he normally would on a school day. His parents believed he was preparing to leave for school. There was nothing unusual about the morning routine. Andrew got dressed, he ate breakfast, he appeared calm. There were no signs of urgency or distress. Shortly after, Andrew left the house. Instead of walking toward his school, he walked in the opposite direction. Andrew made his way to Doncaster railway station. This choice, to go somewhere else entirely, was not noticed at the time. At the station, Andrew waited quietly. He did not appear rushed. He did not draw attention to himself. At approximately 9:35 a.m., Andrew approached the ticket counter. He used cash to purchase a ticket to London King's Cross. When the clerk offered him a return ticket, Andrew declined. This moment has been examined repeatedly. It suggested intention. It suggested that Andrew did not plan to come back the same day. Andrew then boarded the train. The journey to London took nearly 2 hours. During that time, no one reported anything unusual. Andrew did not contact his family. He did not speak to anyone known to him. When the train arrived at King's Cross Station, Andrew exited onto the platform. CCTV footage later captured him walking through the station. He carried a small bag. He was dressed lightly. He did not appear lost or uncertain. Andrew walked out of the station and disappeared into London. That moment, his exit from King's Cross, marks the last confirmed sighting of Andrew Gosden. What he intended to do after that has never been confirmed. There were no arrangements waiting for him, no known destination, no message explaining his plans. From that point on, Andrew's movements remain unknown. Much of what is known about Andrew Gosden's final movements comes from surveillance footage. At the time of Andrew's disappearance, CCTV coverage existed in many public spaces, but it was not as comprehensive or easily accessible as it is today. The most significant footage comes from King's Cross railway station in London. Andrew was recorded by cameras as he exited the train and walked through the station. In the footage, Andrew appears calm. He is not running. He is not looking around nervously. He does not appear to be searching for someone. He walks with purpose. He is carrying a small shoulder bag. He is dressed in a dark t-shirt and jeans. There is nothing in his body language that suggests distress. After Andrew exits the station, he is seen walking toward the street outside. That is the final confirmed image of him. No further verified CCTV footage of Andrew has ever been recovered. This absence has become one of the most frustrating elements of the case. London is a large, crowded city. On any given day, millions of people move through its streets. Without knowing Andrew's intended destination, investigators were left with few leads. One of the earliest challenges was the delay in recognizing Andrew as missing. By the time police were notified and CCTV footage was reviewed, valuable time had already passed. Some footage was overwritten. Other cameras had not been checked in time. This gap in the timeline meant that Andrew's movements after leaving the station could not be reliably reconstructed. Investigators also examined whether Andrew may have met someone in London. There was no evidence of prearranged plans, no messages, no emails, no known contacts waiting for him. Andrew did not carry a mobile phone. This significantly limited the ability to track his movements or communications. The train journey itself has also been closely examined. Andrew traveled alone. No fellow passengers reported noticing anything unusual. There were no reports of conversations or interactions. The journey appeared ordinary. And yet, at the end of that ordinary journey, Andrew stepped into a city and vanished. The lack of activity following his arrival has remained one of the most troubling aspects of the case. No bank transactions, no confirmed sightings, no physical evidence. London offered countless possibilities, and no clear answers. Once Andrew Gosden was officially reported missing, the investigation began in earnest. Local police in Doncaster worked alongside British Transport Police, given Andrew's confirmed train journey. Early efforts focused on retracing Andrew's steps. Investigators reviewed CCTV footage from Doncaster railway station. They confirmed the time Andrew arrived, purchased his ticket, and boarded the train. Attention then shifted to London. King's Cross Station became a focal point. However, by the time Andrew's disappearance was fully understood, much of the available CCTV footage from surrounding areas had already been overwritten. This loss of footage significantly limited investigators' ability to track Andrew's movements beyond the station. Police also examined Andrew's home life and school environment. They interviewed family members. They spoke with teachers and classmates. They looked for signs of bullying, conflict, or unhappiness. None were found. Andrew's academic records showed strong performance. There were no behavioral concerns. Nothing suggested he was planning to leave permanently. Investigators also considered whether Andrew had access to communication channels unknown to his family. They examined computers. They reviewed internet usage. There was no evidence that Andrew had been communicating secretly online. This absence of a digital footprint stood out. It meant there were no messages, no contacts, and no plans to follow. Over time, the investigation expanded nationally. Andrew's photograph was circulated widely. Public appeals were made. Despite this, no confirmed sightings were reported. As months passed, the lack of new information became increasingly apparent. The case did not close, but it did slow. Andrew Gosden remained missing. Over the years, many questions have been asked about why Andrew Gosden went to London that morning. Investigators have considered several possibilities. None have been proven. One theory is that Andrew intended to return home the same day. Some have suggested that his refusal of a return ticket may not have been significant. At the time, single tickets were sometimes cheaper. Andrew may have planned to buy another ticket later. However, no evidence has confirmed this explanation. Another possibility is that Andrew planned to meet someone in London. Investigators have examined this carefully. There is no confirmed evidence that Andrew had arranged to meet anyone. No communications were found. No contacts were identified. This lack of evidence has made it difficult to support the theory. Some have suggested that Andrew may have wanted time alone. London offered anonymity. It offered distance. But this explanation still leaves questions unanswered. Andrew did not take clothing or supplies. He did not withdraw significant money. Nothing suggested long-term planning. Other theories have focused on opportunity. London is large, busy, and unpredictable. Without knowing Andrew's destination, investigators were left with countless possibilities. Importantly, law enforcement has stated there is no evidence that Andrew ran away due to unhappiness at home. There is also no evidence that he was coerced or forced to leave. What remains consistent is the absence of a clear motive. Andrew's actions appear deliberate, yet the reason behind them has never been established. This balance, between intention and uncertainty, continues to define the case. More than 15 years have passed since Andrew Gosden disappeared. During that time, his case has remained open. Investigators have continued to review information as new technology and methods have become available. Andrew's family has remained active in their efforts to keep his case visible. They have worked with law enforcement and participated in public appeals, hoping that someone may come forward with information. Over the years, there have been occasional reports of possible sightings. None have been confirmed. There has been no verified activity linked to Andrew since the day he arrived in London. No financial records, no communications, no confirmed evidence explaining what happened after he left the station. Law enforcement has stated that even small pieces of information could be significant. A detail that once seemed unimportant may carry new meaning years later. Until that information emerges, Andrew Gosden's disappearance remains unresolved. His case stands as a reminder of how quiet decisions can have lasting consequences, of how a single morning can change everything, and of how silence, once it settles, can endure for years. For now, Andrew Gosden's story remains unfinished.